So I wanted to make a video about a client of mine and his results with transpersonal coaching. So he did one session with me, right? And after his session, he had this huge shift in his consciousness. So before the process, you have an unconscious set of perceptions in your subconscious, right? And during the session, you become aware of them. And when you become aware of them, when you feel them in your body, what actually happens is because of the fact of witnessing, of awareness, things get a new perspective and they get recontextualized and things can shift, right? Because you see it from different perspectives. And things started to shift in his relationship to his father. So what happened was he realized in the session that he always saw his father as a monster. He was afraid, he felt guilt. So there were moments where he felt like whenever his parents would ask something of him to do and he didn't do it, he felt guilty. And then some days afterwards, he would try to make up for it. He had this guilt, right? Or whenever the parents were mad, he would feel afraid. And so after this process, he said, you know, my father, he was angry, he was upset, and I just kept looking at him, and all of a sudden I realized I don't have that reaction anymore. I don't have that fear anymore. I don't have that compulsive desire to, to be good for him, to acquiesce to his desires, to his demands. And he said he was shouting at me, he was mad at me, and I just kept looking at him, smiling, and I'm like, Dad, how's your health? He stayed calm, and he was not touched by it anymore or triggered by it anymore. So that completely changed. And I thought that was so inspiring because healing the relationship with your parents is such a big thing, because if you don't understand and heal the patterns that you have with your parents, with your closest siblings, with your family, what happens is you tend to recreate in your relationships after the newness of the relationship with your partner has gone. So after the honeymoon period, after the newness is gone, you tend to recreate the same relationships that you have with your parents with them. Why? Because that's how you're programmed. So unconsciously, you will always draw the worst partner for yourself. But that is to facilitate what needs to be healed in you, right? Yeah, I'm really excited about transpersonal coaching. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything, but things are happening and I'm just like a witness to it. And it makes me so enthusiastic to help people without trying to help them, but to help people by just being with them. And yeah, it reminds me, I remember when I did my first ayahuasca session, and I asked the energy of ayahuasca, what are my talents? What are my gifts? And I saw 3 images. I remember it so vividly. Like, I didn't understand it back then, but I do understand it now. It's so funny. In the first image, I saw myself sitting in a dark room opposite a person. And we were like talking, we were connecting, we were uncovering secrets, uncovering deep things. So I didn't realize that, but I had like an idea that I need to be in a, like, being one-on-one, in a one-on-one situation with a person, we can go really deep and we can uncover things. That's like something that's always been innately interesting to me, to get to know somebody, to go to the core, to go to the root, to figure out, to not to get something out of it, but to explore, to understand. That's so fascinating. And then the second image was, I saw myself on one side of a bridge, and and there was like this bridge, and on the other side was a person, and I was telling him, take this route to come here. So I was helping a person crossing some kind of obstacle, right? By showing him the way. So that's what's happening now in my life. It's funny, it's only unfolding 2-3 years later. And the third talent or gift that I had apparently was, I saw myself in this house, and I was like looking out at the world. I was seeing everything how it was, and then I would be like transcribing what I saw on a translucent board. So I would draw out what I saw and interpret it. So whatever was happening in experience, I would filter it through my perception and then write it out on a translucent board so that I could see what it was or how I saw it or what it meant. And that's also what I'm doing now, right? Because I always like to share the experiences that I collected, that I went through, and I always like to really explain the dynamics of it, of what's happening there, what's going on, how was it, what were the subtle changes, what were the subtle movements. It's so funny how it all like loops back on each other. Anyway, thank you.